Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving deep into the world of gaming inspectors. Think James Bond, but instead of martinis, you're on the casino floor, ensuring fair play.
It's a fascinating role, a really dynamic one.
And to help us prep for a gaming inspector interview, we've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher. Their career and interview guides are going to be super helpful here.
Yeah, they're a goldmine. We're not just going to give you some generic tips. We're really going to use these resources to understand, what the interviewers really want to hear.
That's our mission, to give you that extra edge. So let's jump right in. First up, what does a gaming inspector even do? More than just catching card counters, right?
Oh, way more. Picture this. A casino floor. Busy, lights, the sounds of chips. You're not just watching for cheaters. You're checking everything. Roulette wheels, slot machines, making sure they're working the way they should be.
Oh, okay.
Then you've got customer complaints. Maybe things are getting a little heated. Got to keep everything running smoothly. You're kind of a jack of all trades.
So like a detective, a tech whiz, and a customer service expert all rolled into one.
You got it. And that's the kind of energy you want to bring to your interview. Show them you can handle the pressure, the fast-paced casino world.
Makes sense. Okay, let's tackle some interview questions. First one. What inspired you to pursue a career as a gaming inspector?
This is your chance to share your passion. Don't just say, I like games. Think about what really draws you to this. Is it the challenge, like being a detective, outsmarting those cheaters?
Yeah.
Or maybe you love the idea of keeping things fair, upholding that sense of justice. Or maybe it's just the energy of the casino world. It's always changing.
Yeah, so connect your personal interests to the actual job, right? Show them you get it.
Exactly. And be ready for a follow-up. They might ask, what aspect of the job excites you the most? Gotta have a good answer for that one.
Got it. Now, the experience question. What experience do you have in the gaming industry? What if you're totally new to this?
No worries. Even without direct casino experience, you can still shine. RoleCatcher gives some great advice here. Think about transferable skills. Have you ever worked as a cashier? Handled money, transactions? Or maybe you had a retail job dealing with, tricky customers, complaints, that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's about making those connections, showing them that even though your experience might not be directly in a casino, you've got the skills they need.
Exactly. Think back to times you had to be super careful, handle pressure, resolve conflicts. That's all relevant.
Right. Be honest, but strategic about how you present yourself. RoleCatcher makes a good point about that. Okay, this next one is a bit of a trap. What do you believe are the most important qualities for a gaming inspector to have? It's easy to give a generic answer. How do you stand out?
You got to go deeper. Beyond the obvious, like honesty, hard work, what truly makes a great gaming inspector, think about impartiality. You can't play favorites, got to be fair to everyone.
Right.
Analytical skills. You're like a detective, piecing together clues. And, of course, attention to detail. Catching those little signs of cheating, equipment problems.
Oh, I see. So it's about going beyond the surface level, showing them you really understand what it takes.
Exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. It analyzes those job descriptions and picks out the specific qualities they're looking for. Yeah, it's like having a personalized cheat sheet, for each interview, so you can tailor your answer to really emphasize those traits.
That's amazing. Okay, this next one might sound intimidating if you're new to investigations. Can you describe your experience with conducting investigations?
Okay, so you haven't officially worn that investigator hat. Think broader. Have you ever gathered information, analyzed data, solved a problem?
Right.
Maybe you tracked down an error in a spreadsheet at work or figured out a tricky situation in a group project?
Okay, so everyday problem solving can actually demonstrate those investigative skills.
Absolutely. Be specific, though. Don't just say, I'm a good problem solver. Walk them through it. RoleCatcher recommends using the SNOR method.
The SNOR method.
Yep. Situation, task, action, result. Helps you tell a clear story.
That's a great tip. Now, this one is all about staying ahead of the game. How do you stay up to date with changes in gaming regulations?
Gotta show them you're proactive here. This industry is always changing, so you need to prove you're on top of it.
So I read the news isn't going to cut it.
Not quite. Mention specific industry publications you follow. Have you been to any gaming conferences or workshops? Do you participate in any online forums or communities related to gaming?
Oh, okay. So it's about actively seeking out that knowledge, not just passively, absorbing it.
Exactly. And guess what? RoleCatcher's AI can help here too. It can analyze job descriptions and recommend relevant resources.
Wow, seriously, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, now a potentially tricky question. How do you handle difficult or non-compliant individuals when conducting investigations? I imagine it takes a certain finesse.
Yeah, you need that balance of firmness and empathy. Remember, you're dealing with all sorts of people in a casino, and some might not be too happy about being investigated.
Right, right. High stakes environment, emotions running high. How do you strike that balance?
RoleCatcher emphasizes being assertive, but not aggressive. You got to enforce those regulations, but you got to be fair, respectful of everyone's rights.
Oh, okay, so project competence and authority, but remain approachable.
Precisely. And again, be ready with an example. Maybe a time you dealt with a difficult customer or had to mediate a disagreement. Show them you can handle those interpersonal challenges.
Okay, now for one that seems pretty specific, can you describe your experience with auditing casino gaming operations? What if someone doesn't have direct experience in that area?
Research is key here. Take some time to understand the casino or gaming company you're interviewing with. Do they specialize in certain games? Do they have unique internal control procedures?
So tailoring your answer to that specific organization is crucial.
Absolutely. Even without direct auditing experience, you can highlight relevant skills. Have you ever reviewed financial records, conducted quality control checks, analyzed data to identify discrepancies?
It's about showcasing your analytical mindset, that attention to detail, right?
Exactly. And remember, even if your experience isn't directly from a casino, you can still make those connections. Like, if you volunteered for a nonprofit and helped them manage their finances, that shows responsibility, which is crucial in an auditing role.
That's a great point. Okay, now for one that sounds like a real balancing act, how do you balance the need for enforcing regulations with maintaining positive relationships with casino operators? Sounds like walking a tightrope.
It can be, but here's the key. You're not just an enforcer, you're a resource. Explain that you see your role as helping casino operators understand and comply with those regulations.
So be a partner, not just a policeman.
Exactly. RoleCatcher emphasizes open communication, building trust. When you have a good relationship with the operators, they're more likely to cooperate and work with you to keep things running smoothly.
That makes sense. Okay, this next question seems to be getting at your decision-making. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to gaming regulations?
This is where they're checking your judgment, your ethics. Can you handle the pressure?
What kind of examples should you share?
It doesn't have to be from a gaming context, but it needs to show them you can make tough calls. Maybe you had to report a colleague for unethical behavior, even if they were a friend. Or maybe you enforced a rule that wasn't popular, but you knew it was the right thing to do.
So it's about showing them you have integrity, you stand by your principles.
Absolutely. Walk them through your thought process. What did you consider? What were the consequences of each option? How did you make your decision? Show them how you think.
Okay, last question for now. This one seems a bit different. How do you approach training and educating casino employees on gaming regulations and procedures? Less about catching cheaters, more about being a teacher.
You got it. This is about your communication skills, fostering a culture of compliance.
So sharing your knowledge, helping others understand the importance of those rules.
Exactly. RoleCatcher highlights the importance of adapting your communication style. Some employees might need a straightforward explanation, while others might benefit from a more interactive approach.
Makes sense. Different people learn differently.
Right. Be ready with examples of how you've trained or educated others in the past. Have you mentored someone, led a workshop? Show them you can make learning engaging.
That's great advice. Wow, those are some intense questions. It's a lot to think about, but I feel like we've given our listener a solid foundation for that gaming inspector interview.
I think so too. But we're not done yet. We've got more tips and insights coming up, so stay tuned. Okay, so you aced those first few questions. Now let's dig even deeper into RoleCatcher's interview guide.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, this next one, it really shows them you've done your homework. Can you explain the different types of gaming licenses and their requirements?
Oh, that does sound tricky.
Yeah, it's not just knowing they exist, it's understanding the specifics.
Okay, I see. So how do you go beyond a generic answer?
Think about the job, right? What kind of casino is it? What games do they offer? That tells you which licenses are important.
Oh, I see. So like a casino with slots versus a poker room, totally different licenses.
You got it. And those requirements, they change depending on where the casino is.
Okay, so it's about research. How do you actually demonstrate that you've done your research?
Research the gaming commission, the state or region where the casino is. RoleCatcher recommends actually visiting their website, maybe even contacting them directly.
Wow, so really going the extra mile. Showing them you're serious about understanding the legal side of things.
Right. That sets you apart. Now, this next question is all about your tech skills. What are some common methods used to cheat at casino games, and how do you detect and prevent them?
Oh, this is where it gets exciting.
Right. It's not just knowing people cheat, it's the how and the why. RoleCatcher has some fascinating stuff on this.
Like what?
Did you know some cheaters use tiny cameras, like hidden in their clothes, to stream live footage of card games to accomplices?
Whoa, that's crazy, like something out of a movie.
It is. And as technology changes, so do the cheating methods. That's why it's so crucial for gaming inspectors to stay ahead.
So how do you answer this in a way that shows you're knowledgeable and proactive?
Talk about specific methods you've researched, like card marking, past posting, or using sleight of hand to mess with the dice.
Okay, so be specific. But then how do you connect that to the prevention side of things?
Talk about surveillance systems, how you'd use those cameras, chip tracking, other security measures to catch suspicious activity.
So think like a cheater to catch a cheater.
Exactly. And don't forget teamwork. Explain how you'd work with security, other staff to keep the games secure. Teamwork is key.
That makes sense. Okay, now this one goes deep on a specific game. Can you explain the process of verifying payouts on slot machines?
This is where that technical understanding comes in.
So it's not just about watching for someone messing with the machine. It's about knowing how those payouts work, right?
Exactly. RoleCatcher explains that slot machines use random number generators, RNGs, to determine the outcome of each spin.
RNGs. Okay, that ensures fairness. But how do you, as an inspector, actually verify that those payouts are correct?
You need to understand how to check the machine's records. Every spin, every payout, it's all tracked. And you need to know the payout percentages set for each machine.
So technical knowledge, A&D analytical skills.
Right on. And those regulations on payouts can vary, so research is still key.
Always research. Got it. Okay, this next one goes to the heart of the role. What steps would you take if you suspected a dealer of colluding with a player? That's a tough one.
It is. It's about being careful, observant. First, gather evidence. Don't confront the dealer directly. Just watch them, how they interact with that player.
Oh, okay. So detective mode activated. Subtle clues and all that.
Yep. Look for patterns in the betting, any unusual signals, or anything that seems off. RoleCatcher even suggests learning about common collusion techniques like false shuffling, dealing seconds.
Wow, that's getting really specific. And once you've got some evidence, then what?
You report it to your supervisor or the security team. They have procedures for these situations.
So it's not about playing hero. It's about following those protocols and making sure there's a proper investigation.
That's it. Remember, your job is to protect the integrity of the games. Okay, this next one sounds like a real test of composure. How would you handle a situation where a player became aggressive or confrontational after losing a significant amount of money? I bet that happens more than we think. It can be tough, but staying calm, professional is crucial. You represent the casino, you got to de-escalate the situation.
So what's the best approach? Talk them down.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes active listening, showing empathy. Acknowledge their frustration, but stand firm on those casino rules.
Okay, so validate their feelings without giving in. Got it.
Exactly. Help them understand the casino operates fairly within the law, but if it keeps escalating,
Yeah, what then?
call for backup. Security, know your limits, don't put yourself in danger.
Safety first, absolutely. Okay, this next one is interesting. What are your thoughts on the increasing use of technology in casinos, and how does it impact the role of a gaming inspector?
This is where you can show you're thinking ahead. The casino world is evolving so fast, and technology is a big part of that.
So what are some examples of those new technologies?
Think facial recognition, chips with RFID, even VR gambling.
Whoa, that's wild.
Right. And they're already being used. So how do you, as an inspector, keep up?
Yeah, how do you adapt?
Continuous learning is key.
Yeah.
Stay on top of those trends, understand how tech can be used, both for good and bad. Go to conferences, read industry journals, even try out new tech yourself.
So embrace innovation, but always uphold those core values of fairness and security.
Exactly. And guess what? RoleCatcher's AI can help here too. It can recommend resources that cover the latest tech.
They really thought of everything, huh? Okay, this sounds like a real challenge. You notice a pattern of suspicious activity at a particular blackjack table. What steps would you take to investigate?
This is where your inner detective really shines. Discreet, methodical, remember. First, gather those clues. Watch the table. The players, the dealer, the cards, everything.
Okay, so it's about observation, looking for things that most people wouldn't notice.
Exactly. Are the bets weird? Any secret signals between players? Are the cards being dealt or shuffled strangely?
So spotting those patterns that most people would miss.
That's it. And document everything. Detailed notes, maybe even discrete video if it's allowed. Then, you analyze. Look for those trends or anomalies.
So you're piecing together the puzzle, trying to see if there's real wrongdoing happening.
You got it. And if your analysis points to cheating, report it to your supervisor or security.
They take over from there.
Right. You're the eyes and ears, but the formal investigation is up to them.
Makes sense. Okay, now we're getting a bit technical again. Can you explain the difference between drop and win in a casino setting, and how are these figures used to monitor gaming operations?
This is all about understanding those key casino terms. So, drop first.
Okay, what is drop exactly?
It's all the money and markers that the casino takes in from players at a particular game over a certain time.
Oh, okay, so the total money going into the game.
Right. And win is what's left over after they pay out the winnings to players.
So the casinos profit from that game.
Exactly. And casinos track these numbers very carefully for every game, every day.
Why? Why is it so important?
Because it helps them make sure everything's fair and running smoothly. They can calculate things like the hold percentage, the win per unit.
So they're seeing how profitable each game is.
And if there are any weird patterns that might mean cheating or problems with the equipment, it's all about keeping things honest.
Got it. Okay, this one shifts gears a bit. What are some signs that a player might be struggling with problem gambling? And how would you approach the situation?
This one's important. It shows you're not just about catching cheaters, but that you care about the people too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what are the warning signs? RoleCatcher suggests watching for players who gamble for hours without breaks, chase losses, or seem really stressed.
Ooh, okay. Those are pretty clear signs. And then how do you actually approach someone who's exhibiting these behaviors?
Compassion, but be firm. You're not a therapist, but you can offer help.
Like what? What would you say?
Maybe something like, hey, I've noticed you've been playing a while, maybe it's time for a break. Or mention that the casino has information on responsible gaming.
So offer support, but don't be judgmental or make them feel bad.
Right. And you can always tell your supervisor, let them know what's up. They might have resources to help.
Okay, this next one is all about security. Can you explain the importance of surveillance systems in a casino, and how do you utilize them in your role?
Surveillance is like the backbone of casino security. It's how they keep things fair and safe.
Okay, so like cameras everywhere.
Oh yeah, cameras covering every corner. But it's more than that. You've got facial recognition, chip tracking, all sorts of sophisticated tech.
Wow, so it's a constantly evolving system.
Exactly. And you, as an inspector, need to know how to use it. Monitor those games, spot suspicious activity, investigate incidents.
So how do you prove that you can handle those systems?
Talk about your experience with specific surveillance software or tech. Have you used it before? Maybe to review footage, track players, show them you can use those tools in real life.
Practical experience is key. Okay, now we're getting into casino procedures. Can you explain the process of handling a fill request from a gaming table?
Okay, so this is about how casinos operate day to day. A fill request is when a table needs more chips or cash. They call for a fill from the main bank.
Okay, I get it. And what's the gaming inspector's role in all of this?
You're there to make sure everything's done by the book, verify who's asking for the fill, count the money, make sure everything's documented properly.
So, accountability. Making sure there are no mistakes or chances for theft.
You got it. It's all about maintaining that financial integrity. Now, this next one is a bit more philosophical.
Okay, let's hear it.
How do you reconcile the entertainment aspect of casinos with the potential for problem gambling?
It's a tough one, right?
Definitely. You want people to have fun, but you also have to be aware of the risks.
Exactly. They want to see a thoughtful answer here. RoleCatcher suggests focusing on responsible gaming practices, how casinos try to promote those, like providing info on problem gambling, setting betting limits.
So it's about acknowledging that casinos have a role to play in preventing problem gambling.
Absolutely. And you, as an inspector, are a part of that. It's about keeping the environment safe for everyone.
I like that. Okay, back to the technical side of things. You're inspecting a roulette wheel. What are some key things you would look for to ensure its fairness and integrity? Okay, time for that meticulous attention to detail. Inspecting a roulette wheel, you're looking for any signs of wear and tear, tampering, anything that could affect the game's fairness.
So tell us, what are you specifically looking for?
RoleCatcher gives some great tips. First, you look at the wheel. Are any spokes loose? Any cracks in the surface? Are those numbered pockets all the right size and shape?
Okay, so you want that wheel to be perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
No unfair advantages for anyone.
Right. Then you spin it, watch how the ball moves, where it lands, any signs of bias, like does it always land in a certain section?
Oh, that's interesting. And what about the ball itself?
Check the ball's surface. Is it smooth? Perfectly round? They even have special tools to measure this.
Yeah, so much detail goes into this.
It has to be thorough. Everything in the casino needs to be fair, right down to the equipment. Now, this one focuses on a specific game. Can you explain the procedures involved in verifying the authenticity of playing cards used in a poker game?
Oh, interesting. I guess there are all sorts of ways to cheat with cards.
You bet. Marked cards, trimmed edges, even special decks with hidden markings. So casinos have to be really careful.
So what do they do to make sure those cards are legit?
First, they buy those cards from trusted manufacturers. High quality, security features, the works.
So the cards are already designed to be tamper-proof. And then what?
They have strict procedures, pre-shuffled decks, rotating decks, and always checking those cards before and after each game.
And the gaming inspector's role is to...
Observe and verify. Make sure those procedures are being followed. You might even inspect the cards yourself, looking for anything fishy.
Okay, so those are eagle eyes again. Spotting any signs of tampering. Now this next one is a tough one, ethically speaking. How would you handle a situation where you suspected a colleague of engaging in unethical or illegal activity?
This is where your integrity really comes into play. Do you do the right thing, even if it's hard?
Yeah, it's about putting ethics first, even if it means reporting someone you know.
That's it. Your job is to protect the gaming industry.
But it's got to be tough. What if it's a friend?
It is. But remember, you're accountable to the casino, the gaming commission. RoleCatcher advises to document everything and report it to your supervisor or the compliance officer.
So follow the official channels. Don't try to handle it yourself.
Right. Be discreet, no gossip. Okay, let's lighten things up a bit. Why do you think people enjoy gambling, and what are some of the psychological factors that contribute to its appeal?
Well, that's an interesting one.
It is. They want to see that you've thought about the bigger picture, the human side of gambling.
So it's not just about the rules. It's about understanding why people gamble.
Exactly. The thrill, the social aspect, there are so many reasons. Think about the feeling you get when you win, that dopamine rush.
Yeah, I get it. Or the feeling of control, that you can beat the odds.
And for some, it's an escape. It's important to remember that for most people, it's just fun.
Right. But for some, it can become a problem. Okay, back to the technical stuff. Can you explain how a random number generator, RNG, works, and why is it important in ensuring fair play in electronic gaming machines?
RNGs are the heart of those machines. They make sure everything is truly random.
Okay, so explain it like I'm 5. What is an RNG?
Imagine a computer program spitting out random numbers. Those numbers determine what happens on the slot machine, every spin.
So it's all chance, no way to rig it.
Exactly. That's why they're so important. And casinos test those RNGs rigorously using special labs and algorithms to make sure they're up to snuff.
So it's not just about trusting the machine. There are actual checks in place.
Absolutely. And as an inspector, you might even be involved in those tests or checking the certifications. It's all about making sure things are on the up and up. Okay, this next question is like a scene from a movie. What steps would you take to secure a crime scene in a casino, and how would you ensure the preservation of evidence?
Oh, this sounds intense.
It is. First, you secure the area. No one unauthorized gets in. Ropes, barricades, whatever it takes.
Okay, so establish that perimeter, control the scene, then what?
You find the evidence, protect it. We're talking surveillance footage, chips, cards, fingerprints, even witness statements.
So many things to consider. You really have to be careful not to contaminate anything.
Exactly. Gloves, proper collection techniques, the whole 9 yards. Usually the casino security or the police would take it from there.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, back to problem solving. You notice a discrepancy in the accounting records for a particular slot machine. What steps would you take to investigate?
Okay, time to put on that detective hat again. First, gather the facts.
Where do you even begin with something like that?
RoleCatcher suggests checking the machine's records. Every spin, every win, it's all there. Then you look at the casino's accounting system. Are there any errors there?
So cross-referencing, looking for inconsistencies. And if you still can't figure it out,
Time to call in the experts. the slot machine technician, or the accounting department.
Use your resources. Teamwork.
Right. And always document everything. Okay, now for a specific cheating technique. Can you describe the concept of card counting in blackjack, and how do casinos try to prevent it?
Ooh, card counting. Sounds sneaky.
It is. It's a way for players to get an edge in blackjack. They keep track of the cards that have been dealt so they can guess what's left in the deck.
So it's like using math to predict the future.
Kind of. And if they're good at it, they can change their bets to their advantage.
So how do casinos fight back?
Multiple decks, frequent shuffling, training dealers to spot those counters, and of course, surveillance technology.
So it's a constant cat and mouse game. Okay, this next one seems to be about those common mistakes. What are some common mistakes that new gaming inspectors make, and how can they be avoided?
They want to see that you're thinking ahead here, being self-aware.
So what are those rookie mistakes?
RoleCatcher mentions a few: being too aggressive, not following procedures, lack of attention to detail.
Okay, so those are pretty big ones.
Right. Remember, you're there to ensure fairness, not be a bully, and always follow those procedures every step of the way.
Dot your I's and cross your T's.
Exactly. And pay attention. Those small details matter. They also mention poor communication skills. You got to be able to talk to all kinds of people, from players to staff, in a clear and professional way.
So strong communication skills are crucial.
Yes. And never stop learning. This industry is constantly changing, so you got to stay on top of the latest trends, new tech, everything.
Always be learning. Got it. Okay, this next one is a real ethical dilemma. You witness a fellow gaming inspector engaging in behavior that violates casino policy. What would you do?
This one's tough, but it's about integrity. Doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
Yeah, even if it means reporting a coworker.
Exactly. You have responsibility to the casino, to the gaming commission.
But what if it's someone you like, someone you respect?
It's never easy, but remember, you're accountable for what you see. RoleCatcher suggests documenting everything and going to your supervisor or the compliance officer.
Don't try to be the hero. Let the right people handle it.
Right. And no gossip, no drama, just follow the procedures. Okay, let's shift gears. Can you explain the concept of table limits in casino games, and why are they important?
Okay, table limits, I know what they are, but why are they such a big deal?
They're about protecting everyone. Players A&D the casino. They stop people from betting more than they can afford.
So a form of responsible gaming.
Exactly. And for the casino, it helps them manage risk, make sure they have enough money to cover those big wins.
Well, it's about finding that balance, right?
Right. Keeps everything fair and under control. Now imagine this. A fire alarm goes off in the casino. What are your immediate priorities as a gaming inspector?
Oh, wow. That's a stressful scenario.
It is. You got to think fast. RoleCatcher emphasizes safety first. Get everyone out. Follow the emergency plan.
Okay, so evacuate. Then what?
Secure those gaming areas, all that cash, chips, sensitive stuff. Help maintain order. Get everyone to safety.
So you're supporting the emergency response, even though you're not a firefighter or a security guard.
Exactly. Be calm. Be helpful. Now, let's get a little technical again. Can you explain the concept of theoretical win in casino gaming, and how is it calculated?
Theoretical win. Sounds complicated.
It's all about statistics. Casinos use this to estimate how much they'll win from a specific game over time.
So predicting the future using math.
In a way, yeah. They consider the game's rules, the odds, the average bet. And then they use that information to track how their games are performing, set limits, and even figure out where to place games and how to market them.
Interesting. So it's a behind-the-scenes tool for making those big decisions.
Exactly. And you, as an inspector, might be checking those calculations, making sure everything's accurate.
Okay, this next one is for all the craps fans out there. Can you explain the different types of bets that can be placed in a craps game, and what are the odds associated with each bet?
Ah, craps. The game that can be a little intimidating at first.
Yeah, I've always been a little scared of the craps table, to be honest.
It can seem confusing, all those different bets, but once you get it, it's super fun.
Okay, so walk us through some of the common bets.
RoleCatcher mentions a few. The pass line bet, that's a simple one, and the don't pass line bet, which is the opposite. Then you've got come bets and don't come bets, which are kind of like the pass line bets, but placed after a point has been established.
Okay, I'm starting to see the pattern here.
Then there are odds bets, which are side bets with no house edge. You've got place bets, where you bet on a specific number. Field bets are placed on a certain area of the table. And proposition bets are one-roll bets on a specific outcome.
Wow, that's a lot of options.
It's a game with a lot of action. Understanding the bets and their odds is key to enjoying the game.
Okay, back to security measures. What steps would you take if you discovered a counterfeit casino chip?
Counterfeit chips, that's a big no-no. Casinos have to be really strict about that.
So what do you do if you find one?
First, secure that chip, get it out of circulation, put it in a safe place, then you report it. Your supervisor, security team, they'll take it from there.
So again, follow the procedures, let the experts investigate.
Exactly. They might check surveillance footage, talk to people, maybe even call the police. It's serious business. Okay, this next question is, all right, we've thrown a lot of interview questions your way, but before we wrap things up, let's talk about that secret weapon you have, RoleCatcher's AI.
Yeah, they really emphasize that in their guides. It's not just about reading those tips, it's about using their platform, right?
Exactly. Their AI is like having a personal coach in your corner. It looks at the job description, figures out those key skills, and even suggests answers tailored to those common interview questions.
So it's like it helps you connect the dots between your experience and what the hiring managers are looking for.
Right. Remember those examples from RoleCatcher, like using your cashier experience to show you're good with details?
Yeah.
Their AI can help you make those connections and present your skills in a way that really stands out.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Takes the guesswork out of prepping for different roles.
It does. And their video practice feature, that's where the AI shines. It watches you, analyzes your body language, your tone, everything, gives you feedback on how to present yourself like a pro.
Wow, a virtual interview coach. That's incredible.
It is. And it's all there to help you land that gaming inspector job.
So remember, you've got the knowledge, the skills, and now the tools.
Yeah.
But before we go, let's leave you with a little something to think about, courtesy of RoleCatcher. The gaming industry is changing fast. What new technology do you think will impact casinos the most, and how would a gaming inspector adapt?
Imagine walking onto a casino floor, but instead of slot machines, it's all holograms and VR poker tables. How would you ensure fair play in that world? What new skills would you need?
Those are great questions to consider as you start your journey as a gaming inspector. The future of gaming is exciting, and who knows, you might be leading the charge.
Absolutely. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to help you along the way. Their guides, their AI tools, it's all free. Go explore and start building that winning hand today.
We're rooting for you. Good luck with that interview, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.